Techies, welcome or welcome back to Talks Tech. I'm Kay, so let's talk tech. So today I want to talk about the Scrum Master role. I see a lot of people saying, let me get that Scrum Master certification because, it's fairly easy to get, so forth and so on. Or I've been out of tech for a while and maybe Scrum Master is a way for me to get back in, and it can be. But here's the thing. Scrum Master, like everything else, is becoming really competitive, and you need industry knowledge to help you. See, with all of the tech jobs now, you're going to need something else. You got to have that value added thing, that thing that makes you a bonus, right? So if you're a Scrum Master, you don't know tech, and you don't have any industry knowledge, then the likelihood of you getting hired, I'm not going to say you're not going to get hired, but I am going to say you'll be hired last, because when you pick people for your team, you want the best, right? It's just like when you were a kid, and I hope you didn't have the painful experience I had of getting picked last, because I'm really not athletic at all, never have been. But when the teams are being picked, you pick the best players first, right? And so your resume is telling the hiring managers how good a player you probably are, because they don't know. So they do that, and then they have those interviews. Now let's think about this for a second, right? You got to get crafty with this here market, because this market is. I would love for it to change back, but I just don't know that it will. So sorry for that background noise. I had to go take care of that. So I was saying you got to get crafty in this market, because it's buck wild. Every job, there are hundreds of applicants. You don't know how many, but if there's 100, maybe there's 200. Okay? So if your resume doesn't pop out and show that you are a star player, you're probably going to get overlooked. And the salaries that the big boys pay have been so reduced that makes smaller companies in play for those same people. So now it used to be like, let's say you were kind of starting out, you could go to a smaller company, but you have the more experienced people competing for those jobs too, because the market is flooded with people looking for work. So you have to come up with what is going to make you extremely attractive as a candidate. If you want to be a Scrum Master and you haven't worked in tech, why would I hire a Scrum Master who doesn't understand the topics being discussed, right? That's how you got to think about it. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the hiring manager. But I can tell you that, and I've heard people say this, that's how I know they think this way. Tech managers think that as long as you know the tech, you can pick up the business. But business managers think that as long as you know the business, you can pick up the tech. Now, I don't think tech is easy to pick up. I just don't. I think business is much easier to pick up most of the time. You're not just going to pick up how to do certain accounting, right? But a lot of it you can pick up. So you can pick up what instruments there are in capital markets and how they work. You can study that, right? So what I would suggest you do is, if you're entering the market now and you're trying to come in as a Scrum Master and you don't have industry knowledge, or you've been a Scrum Master and you've been unemployed, go get more knowledge. Go take yourself a certificate in that industry. There are so many places that are giving out free 99. Sorry for that interruption. There are so many places now that are giving out free learning. Um, I keep telling you about LinkedIn Learning, the free AI stuff. Now, I know that's not the industry, but you are going to need that AI on your resume. If you can say, and you know, you have to do it now because if you don't do it now, you're going to be left behind, okay? Nobody is asking you to know how to build anything in AI for the most part. There are some jobs that ask that, but just generally, if you work in an office, they want you to have some AI tools. Are you good with those prompts? You know, you can take a weekend and you really work with Chat GPT and Copilot and put that down on your resume as, you know, I use these tools in my job, right? So do that. And then, as I was saying before I interrupted myself to talk about AI, get yourself some skills. Get more skills. You're never going to have too many. Get more skills. If you let's say you want to be a Scrum Master, right? If you don't know tech, take a tech class. Take something, you know, over the internet. Watch some YouTube videos if you don't have money. At least say that you understand the concepts. You can go to W3 schools. W3 schools has a lot of tech stuff that you can understand for free. Um, and don't be afraid to take a programming class. When you take a programming class, that's the heart of tech. And you don't have to know how to code later. You just have to understand the process. And then find an industry class to take. If you are, let's say you want to be a Scrum Master, what industry you want to work in? Um, Whatever that industry is, take a little class where you can understand that industry and put that on your resume. Go to AWS Educate and uh, take some of those free tech classes. Now, that can be a tall order for some people. My friend said, you know, I took the cloud practitioner class and I'm trying to find time to study for the exam. And she said, I tried to take it. I don't know how you did that. It was just too much for me. Um, if you haven't worked with cloud before and you don't understand storage, it's a lot. I've worked with storage a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit back in the day when I was a developer. So I kind of got it. Um, but I really focus not so much on what it is, but how you can use it. And for me, that made a difference. If I focus on how I can use this in my job as opposed to what, as opposed to the terms that are being used, then that kind of put it in perspective for me, and I was able to work with it. Um, but yeah, nothing's going to stand between me and those certificates, and it shouldn't stand between you and those either. You have to stack the deck in your favor. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you. So, if you wanted to work in healthcare, um, and you were a nurse 12 years ago, then go take a healthcare informatics class to go along with your Scrum Master. That could tip the scales for you, right? That's the type of coaching that I try to do with people. But when you go to a coach that is not experienced in tech, they don't know to tell you that. You know, they don't know to tell you how to cover that career gap in a way that's acceptable to tech companies. They kind of want to assume everybody's reasonable. They're not reasonable. There's no reasonability anymore. I don't expect people to be reasonable. I expect them to ask me and look, not ask me personally, but look at my resume and say, does this person have the goods? No, next. Yes, okay, let's put her on the short list, because that is what they do. Okay, that's it. That's all I have for you. I hope that bit of advice is helpful to you. I want to see everybody reemployed. Like the video, share the video, follow the channel, come and share, follow me on YouTube and on TikTok. Go to my website, kaetalkstech.com, see if there's anything useful for you there. And sign up for the webinar that I'm doing again. Oh, I didn't tell you about it. Yes, I'm doing a webinar again. I did it June 6th. So I'm going to do it again on June 13th because I have some tips for you to get you back on track. I'll tell you my story, what I did to get back on track and reclaim my career after almost 2 years of unemployment, getting multiple offers and being employed today. So let's do it, okay? It's 100% free. All right, bye.